It's Valentine's Day this week, Joe, and I don't know if you've heard about the two bed bugs that fell in love.
No.
They're getting married in the spring.
Those are the cute jokes.
Getting married in this.
That's a tasteful joke.
Is it up there with roses are red, violets are blue? If your boyfriend's, never mind, that's not a cute joke. How about when I asked the girl out, and she said, "I can't be your Valentine's Day, but for medical reasons." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, you make me sick." They're getting married in the spring.
That's a funny joke.
Married in the spring.
That is hilarious.
This is Jacques.
I'm Joe.
And welcome to the Patriots won Super Bowl 53 podcast, brought to you by the fine people, me and Joe, of Carnival Personnel.
Mm-hmm. I almost forgot there was a Super Bowl, to be honest.
Did you really?
Yeah, there was nothing in my news feed on Twitter at all this week. Nothing.
I think I liked one. Two. I liked.
They were
clips.
just Marmaduke panels for some reason in my news. I only follow
That's the
one.
Boston Herald. That's not Twitter.
I don't get the far side.
See, in this panel. Anyways, yes, we will get into it in sport. I wanted to do a whole sideshow. I understand why Joe said no, because really nobody but me. Joe doesn't want to be trapped in the basement an extra hour with me after spending Super Bowl Sunday with me and my mom. And the pictures to prove it.
Oh, yeah. I got my fill of Super Bowl 53. It was during Super Bowl 53.
I will never get my fill of Super Bowl 53. But, kind of jumping ahead, I came home the other day, and the mom-in-law's boyfriend, who, rarely was in hiding his cave, was sitting on the chair, and NFL Network is showing all the Patriots Super Bowl wins. He's watching the Carolina one from 2003. And I swear to fucking God, cheering like he has never seen the game or know the outcome. And one time he did. He jumped up, and the wife looks at me, and she's like, "Is he fucking serious?" It's like, and I even told, it's like, look, I want to sit. It wasn't an abbreviated thing or the highlights. They're airing the games in the entirety, and it's like, why are we watching? And that's coming from me.
Well, then you now know what you have to look forward to when you start to go senile. That every Super Bowl is a new Super Bowl.
I'm going to learn Korean? Oh, that's okay. There you go. So let's get right to it, Joe. Fat shaming. So I got on the scale this week.
Did it say, whoa?
Get up. One at a time, please. Wait your turn. Ow! Okay.
The list goes on and on. He shames himself.
I'm doing this so I can be shamed by all my friend. And, small brag, since the beginning of the year, down 14 pounds from 261.
Congratulations.
Well, how sad is it? You're down 14 pounds and you only got 70 to go, or 71 to be technical.
Would you rather be 12 pounds down?
Yeah, that is true. So this week, and I've been smart about not trying to overdo it. It took me 2 years to put on. It's going to take me more than a week to take off. And so you can't starve yourself. That's the wrong way to do it. And you can't over-exercise. And I didn't think I was overdoing it, but on Wednesday, I got on the treadmill. And I'm like, okay, I can start my running program. Because the day before I broke my ankle, almost a year ago, we're coming up on a year anniversary.
Almost a year now.
Almost a year. We're going to go. I had my best time, and on a treadmill, and it's different than running on a road. I ran a 5K, in 27 and a half minutes. And that's a pretty okay time. So this was completely different. So when I said I was running on a treadmill, and by that evening, I wanted to saw my legs off. They hurt so fucking much. And then I wake up Thursday, they hurt. I don't remember the last time something hurt, this bad. Like, not even when my dad left.
Episode 4.
And, but it's Thursday, the only day that they have stick time at that rink I've been going to. And last week I couldn't go on Thursday because I had to go to New York. So I did I almost said figure skating, the public skating. The bunch of kids.
With the crate.
Yeah, you don't blame,
Well, they stacked the crates for you.
I'm working up to it. I'm baby stepping my way under the elevator. And so I said, I have to go. And it was just so painful. But, once, like after the first 10 minutes, it still hurts, not as much. But then it hurts twice as much later. And you saw me come down the steps now. It's like, I'm not going to be able to walk this weekend.
I can't help you back up. Just fair warning.
Well, throw down a blanket.
Yeah, if we only had a mini fridge down here, you could
It'd be
probably
perfect.
stay the night.
Perfect. All right. So that's a fat shaming, Biff. The rest of you. So I do at the rink for the F&H guys. I do a little motivational video for them all, letting them know I'm at the rink and just keeping them abreast. That I am making a earnest try to get to Phoenix this Memorial Day to play.
A wise man once said, "There is no try, only do. Do or do not."
There's no you fat ass. He did. I think he muttered the fat ass under his puppet breath. All right, so now we're going to move into the segment you suggested this week.
It's February, which we all know is Black History Month, but for some reason, Whitey decided, hey, let's not put all the attention on the black people of American history that we should revere and kind of remember and honor. Let's shine the light, or the shoe polish, if you will, on blackface in history. So we're calling this segment Blackface History Month because, man, there's a lot of blackface out there, and was.
And what's tragically hysterical about what's going on in Virginia is the governor who won't step down, who also decided and was stopped by his wife that moonwalking during his press conference, talking about how he will not step down. You see that?
Yeah.
It turns out the lieutenant governor can't step in, even if he wanted to step down, because he too has
blackface.
Well, yeah.
Oh wait.
Yeah.
He's a black guy.
Yeah. No. But
he has a sexual assault.
Yeah, sexual assault. But there's another, like the next person in succession, same thing.
Right.
Has the thing.
Oh, right. It's kind of like a reverse Oreo of scandal
Right.
going on. You have white guy in blackface, black guy who can't keep his hands off the ladies, and another white guy in blackface. So who do you choose from? Not any of them, really. I think you should probably, clean house and start anew.
Right, but and that's what people are calling out for.
I mean, these Republicans, they get in there.
In this case.
Wait, what?
And that's the difference. Not only are these Democrats, but the entire Democratic Party of the state and of the nation, from Nancy Pelosi all the way to the junior member of the, Virginia State House is saying, dude, you gotta step out of here. On the other hand, Labor Secretary for this administration, for the White House, is a registered sex offender. So he's on the sex offender registry.
Our president is an unregistered sex offender.
Yeah, but that's the difference. It's like, they as we talked, it's like, Al Franken really didn't get his day in the, and he wanted to, but he was tried by a jury of public opinion instantly, and the Democrats, shunned him. It's like out.
I wonder if this governor is riding the wave and kind of learning from past scandals, maybe thinking that if he could just sort of ride the tide of this news cycle, which is essentially what, 4 days?
Something will bump it off.
Yeah, like maybe something will happen and people will forget about it, and maybe it won't seem so bad and it'll pale in comparison. Never mind. But
pale face? Oh, is that really where you're going with it? Nice.
Well, I don't want to just gloss over Blackface History Month because I hope not to revisit this subject in further podcasts. So, I mean, let's look at blackface in popular culture.
Sure.
I mean, we all know, the minstrel shows of the 30s and, the racist origins of blackface and the connotation. But let's look at the more recent occurrences and I guess more palatable or more acceptable versions of blackface, at least at the time.
Right.
I mean, you have two late night show hosts who appeared in blackface.
Well, Jimmy Kimmel
on television. Jimmy Kimmel on the Man
on
Show
a regular basis
as Karl Malone.
As Karl Malone.
And it wasn't just blackface; it was black body.
Right.
But okay, playing a character, he also had the prosthetic arms to make, and he had the prosthetic essentially body to make him look larger. Fine, whatever. Still, that was what 2002, 3, 4, maybe. And then also Jimmy Fallon. He was on Saturday Night Live doing Chris Rock as blackface Chris Rock. Like, he came out during a sketch in blackface as Chris Rock. Guess who on their late night talk shows is not bringing up the Virginia scandal?
Weird. That's kind of weird. But
at least to my knowledge. And I think and I hate to be this guy, but it's the only news organization that is quote unquote news organization that's bringing up that topic that Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon aren't talking about the blackface is Fox News.
MSNBC isn't all over that one?
No. For some reason. Yeah, so...
But I think it really goes to the letter of intent.
Yeah.
Like when Amos and Andy was a radio show and the guys on it were white guys.
Yep.
And then when it came to TV, those guys who created the characters wanted to, to do it.
But they cast black actors.
Eventually, yeah, but originally. And then you also have, and it's not... I mean, and I'm asking a serious question. So, like Eddie Murphy did the Mr. White skit on Saturday Night Live, famous because he wanted to see what it was like to be a day in the life of a white person who goes to the bank and they just give him a loan.
That I think, black guy doing a white face, not the same. Nobody gives a shit. White people were in power.
They're not like separate but equal kind of.
See, and it was for a point. And also, speaking of more Saturday Night Live blackface, Billy Crystal as Sammy Davis Jr.
Not only as Sammy Davis Jr., he did a baseball skit where he was an old Negro League baseball player.
Oh, is that the one where? Did he do Muhammad Ali in blackface?
I think he also did, but I remember the baseball skit one. He's like, and I forget the other actor playing opposite of him, but they were talking about their days. Like, I was so fast I could turn off the light switch and be under the covers before the room got dark. I was a contact hitter, and anytime I made a hit, you would contact the manager to let him know that it was funny stuff. But I do. What is the intent of it? Is what it all boils down to.
And what all of these, I mean, I know that I'm being an asshole. I know that you got to know that this is a sort of a facetious thing. I don't really think Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Billy Crystal, these guys who went on and put on black makeup or brown makeup to portray other famous black people in sketches is equivalent to, dressing up in blackface and going to a Halloween party with your bros who also dressed up like the KKK.
It's night and day. And
what are you saying?
But at the same time, I mean, I'm not saying it's okay. But, Virginia, what is he in high school, college back then? Just
84 was college. Was that his college yearbook? First of all, by the way, the college or whatever the yearbook page that he got, he must have gone to like actually that high school. No, I think that school was a predominantly black school. Or it had more. I think it had more or a larger population of black students than other comparable high schools, which is why he got that name. Remember the nickname they gave him?
And it's the other thing.
But anyways, it's the page of his yearbook. Did you get a whole page dedicated to you?
I did not.
I don't recall ever getting.
I honestly don't. I don't think I've ever seen a high school yearbook and my college yearbook. Just my yearbook photo that they told me they would not publish, that they ended up publishing, which I didn't know. And then later that summer was at, I don't know whose party it was. Well, I can tell you whose party it was because I then somehow that person's yearbook wound up in my possession to this day, so I can look at the name on the yearbook. But I didn't buy a yearbook on my own per se because they said I wasn't going to be in it. Plus, I didn't really give a fuck, and I kind of forgot about taking that photo months
You're beating
earlier.
around the bush. What's the photo?
Oh, you don't know my college yearbook photo?
I know what it is, you idiot. Tell the audience.
I'm shirtless, wearing like a World War I flying cap, holding a robot doll's head, wearing some beat it necklace my friend Gina, our friend Rod's wife Gina, had found like the day before. And she gave me the robot too. As we're going, and she's like, "Here, bring this." What? Okay.
If somebody handed you a bloody Donald Trump head, you would have held that.
I would have held that.
Oh,
up. Yeah. And in '87, just because he ruined the USFL, I was still mad at him back then.
Oh, absolutely, he wasn't the president then. But yeah, so
He's not really the president.
so yes, there's a whole lot of blackface out there.
What about Robert? I love Tropic Thunder's take on that, and the whole joke was he was an arrogant actor who wanted to have this role, so he had the whole surgery, and the whole thing was like, there's a lot of great black actors. You didn't have to do this.
Right, exactly. It was the again, context.
Right.
And it was Tropic Thunder still is probably
What do you mean, you people?
What do you mean, you people? What do you mean, you people? Tropic Thunder is probably top 10 comedies of 2000s, like the entire decade, if not top 5.
Yeah.
If not top 1.
It is great. I mean, the whole story behind it. But so we'll wrap it up, and that is Carnival Personnel's This Week in Blackface History Month.
What?
Well, we'll wrap up unless we got
This
more
week in Blackface History Month. There's another week of Blackface.
Well, we got 2 more weeks to go in there,
Oh man.
No. Hey, well, let's see. Maybe we do, maybe we don't.
Right. Let's see what the news shakes out.
Are we sure that Fox commentator Candace Owen isn't in blackface? Are we 100? Because she says some pretty awful stuff.
Candace Owens. I would not know any of these people if other people that I follow on Facebook or Twitter
didn't post
outrage against what these people said.
And honestly, and we'll get to that when we get to sport. Yeah, I've really got good at just ignoring a lot of this stuff. If you just ignored them and let them say their awful things in their awful corner of broadcasting in the net, we're giving them a larger platform, I think.
I don't know. Yeah, honestly, at this point, I think it's too late. I think it's almost like you now have to shine a light on it and make a big stink out of it. As bad as it is, I know I'm kind of a hypocritical thing because I have in the past said that the news shouldn't perpetuate these people and give them a platform and let them rot in a corner, which in theory would work. But now that the entire internet is segmented into rotten corners, and there are people that are just getting on the internet that are looking for their corner, maybe not so good to be so segregated as far as our ideals are concerned. So, and they're on Fox News. Like, these people are not in a corner, so they're on a channel. They're already out there. It's not like, CNN's putting these people on. I don't think, I don't think.
No, I mean, and I
if Fox News didn't exist, these people probably wouldn't exist, is what I'm saying, as largely.
Hold on, let that wash over me. Let me have that for a moment. Let me just bask in the thought of that glory.
If Fox News didn't exist.
Well, speaking of big stink,
I'm sorry, I didn't shower today.
Thursday is Valentine's Day. You got big plans?
Oh, man. I'm looking at this bag of heart-shaped candies you bought us and thinking maybe I won't open them. Oh, wait. My wife is allergic to them. So, no, I don't have any plans. Uh-oh. SpaghettiOs.
Not freeing up the calendar to pound out a couple years of White Depression or something? No.
What? No? I probably won't be doing that.
No big dinner?
No, we don't eat together, at least. No, we live a very sad, sedentary lifestyle. And she's also busy. She's a busy bee, No, I don't have any plans. I will get plans, though, and I will get back to you with that answer at a later date. And you, sir, are obviously in the midst. I'm actually taking you away from your Valentine's Day planning. So for that, I apologize.
No, it's we, because we always have to do something, when you got the kids to incorporate, them into the mix and stuff like that.
I choose you.
There will never be a greater Valentine card ever. Or something more referenced by you, me, or my family. Like,
second place, let's be friends, and there's a picture of a bee on it.
That is good, But that's what gay women give to each other. That's the card that is most predominant in the lesbian community. Lesbian friend. Anyways, moving. Hey, this is Jacques. Welcome to Carnival Personnel.
I like the low. If only I had like a wind blowing sound.
Tumbleweeds going by.
No, just to see out, just because I'm leaving you out to dry.
Did you by any chance, moving on, seen, and I guess it's been out for a couple weeks, the Stranger Things trailer for season 3?
Well, that came out like many months ago. So yes.
Little guys were all excited, and I don't know if I saw it. I don't think I did, dude. It's half our defunct sponsors are in, like, honestly,
It's
in that ad.
Orange Julius and Chess King.
Chess King's just the best. You ever go into a Chess King?
They asked me not to. I was that nerdy.
Oh, but because the little guys are like, you got to see this. It's like, and how many? What I think, what they don't get the irony, or not irony is not the right word, but the nod that they're giving with that trailer. How many 80s horror movies, like zombie horror movies, like wound up at malls and stuff like that?
Right.
So yeah.
Oh, you didn't see us. You don't watch South Park.
I don't.
This season, they actually had an episode where Amazon was moving into South Park. They had a fulfillment center, and all the people who used to work at the mall would now work, or whatever, in the town would now work at Amazon. And the kids needed to buy something for a bike parade, but they didn't want to go to Amazon, so they went to the mall. And the mall is populated by zombies that used to, like, in Orange Julius
that's great.
outfits, trying to, like, sell them their wares, and it's funny. So yeah, the zombie mall thing isn't lost on the South Park creators.
Yeah, I when I saw that, I'm like, oh, but I can't explain it to them. Not just because they're too young; they're just dumb. Oh, so
They don't get the far side.
we'll see in this panel. What was one of the fears on both sides of the aisle? Jumping into politics now, is that now that the Dems have the House, they're going to do nothing but try to impeach Bloatus, have all these investigations. Now that they have subpoena power, now that they have powers to, actually have these investigations, release a thing. And they are doing that, and it's great. It's really great. But what is also great is as we've talked about it, they came in with a platform and an agenda to get stuff done. And I'm really a fan of some of the stuff that they're trying to push through. I think we talked about it like last week. They want to have a true voters' rights platform where automatically upon your 18th birthday, you are a registered voter. Now, if that infringes on your snowflake freedoms of not wanting to be a registered voter, you can opt out.
The only thing I don't know how they would tackle is when you register to vote, because of our draconian two-party system, you have to either pick Democrat or Republican or, other. And so if you're automatically enlisted or enrolled to vote, does that mean that you just choose your party when you show up to the polling place? Or
I don't know if all the I don't know all the details. But that is a good question.
We have to be a registered voter as a Democrat to vote in the Democratic primaries, and the same with Republicans.
Well, that's one of the things that has been. I mean, they haven't said this is bill. Let's vote on, but that's one of the.
I
other
think
thing
they should
is
let parents choose their children's Democratic and Republican affiliations prior to their 18th birthday. Kind of like actually on your birth certificate. When they choose your name,
right?
Religion.
This is what you are.
Well, they choose your goddamn religion for you right off the bat. Why not your Democratic?
Did you guys do that? Did you guys fill out a religious thing?
We probably put. I don't know if we put Catholic for our boys. Yeah, I don't know. We were because both of us were raised Catholic, and we're afraid of our parents.
and we put.
You know what? I don't know.
We put.
Let me guess. Some fucking sci-fi bullshit.
It's not. It's the Jedi religion is a real religion. Technically, they are. It's considered a religion. Known throughout the galaxy.
So is Scientology.
Or so the IRS has been led to believe. But no, so some of the other voting things that they're talking about is like same-day voting. And the
election, and having an election day be a holiday.
That's the big one.
Did you hear about was it Cleveland or Columbus, Ohio, or one of these towns? They've voted to, or they just decided that they're not going to take Columbus Day off, and instead move that day off that they would have had for Columbus Day and use it on Election Day.
That's fantastic. I think that's great. I mean, that's a whole.
What are you talking about? Hey, you're gonna take the thing from us.
Take it from who?
Hey,
I mean, seriously,
look at me. I'm a Portuguese. I'm not Italian.
All of the things I hate. You know, one of the things that tops the list is Columbus Day. That's another story for another day. But no, what a perfect thing. Do away with that holiday. There's an easy one. Bam, and make it a holiday. Banks closed, schools closed. For all the right reasons, you know. But that's the thing. It's like they're going in with agenda, and you saw, you know, I don't know if you saw like AOC and her bad guy analogies with campaign finance.
Yeah, it was great. It's on the Now This. They did their little compilation. It's really good. It's 5 minutes long, and I forget what the panel was. Was it like a panel of?
It was actually the people who decide, and not they don't make up the rules, but the campaign finance,
like they oversee
overseers. It's like what is legal, what is not legal, and just point blank.
Yeah, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez goes down the list. Like, say I'm a bad guy, and I want to just fund my campaign. I want to run for office, a congressperson, and I just want to be 100% funded by super PACs. That, no outside money except for super PACs. Is that legal? Yes. Okay. Now, what if all the super PAC money was funded by nothing but oil industry? Big oil, big pharma. Lobbyists, would that be legal? Yes. Okay, great. Now,
and the looks around the room of some people getting very nervous by this.
Yeah.
Management, showed me, she had a meme on her Facebook. It was a picture of some old white bloated, could be me, Republican, congressperson sitting a row in front of her. And over her head, it said meteor. And over his head, it said dinosaur. It's like, yeah, that's pretty much but that's what I like. They're not just doing, the bullshit. And then today, it was great. Today, it was,
are you also glossing over the Green New Deal?
Right. And again, some of this stuff is going to pass, and some of it is out there, but they're pushing things forward. They're not just subpoenaing people and going nuts with that.
Right. They're not just laser focused on Trump.
What else did we have here?
It's not on here, but State of the Union address.
Oh yeah, I don't know why it's not on there, other than
I didn't watch it.
That was so long ago. Why would you? What was the benefit of watching it? Because you're going to hear all the lowlights. From it.
The only highlight that I got was the one screen grab of Nancy Pelosi giving a sarcastic side clap to
the best
Donald
thing.
Trump.
Did you see the picture or the actual footage?
I saw both. Obviously the freeze frame.
He had the proud Mussolini looking up, nodding his head. They love me. Yeah. She loves me. Like looking right at her and does get but my favorite highlight this is an actual highlight when he tells all the women to stand up because that's the right way to approach things, or they were all standing anyways, and he said for the women to remain standing while everybody is sitting. He did not ask them to go make a sandwich, but he did take credit for this is a Congress. This Congress has more women than any other Congress, and you should give yourself a round of applause. And as they're giving themselves a round of applause, I think the 90+% of the women in the room who are Democrats are all like, we all fucking hate you.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, getting back to her, didn't smile once, didn't applaud, just sat there stoically.
As she should.
Yeah. She's like, fuck you.
And
first of all, let's give credit where credit's due. You have Donald Trump in a room full of 100 women dressed in white, and he didn't ask them to, do a little turnaround, a little something for the effort.
And this is what I despise.
It's called restraint.
When they play clips of the rare times that George Bush sounds
presidential, or cognizant.
At his first State of the Union, in which Nancy Pelosi became Speaker of the House, said he was honored to be the first president to be able to say the term "Madam," Speaker and stuff like. And I mean, it's like, it's just when George Bush is now like, the litmus
The
test.
beacon of light.
Yeah, exactly.
Is he right? Is he now the new Reagan? Like, are people going to look fondly back on Bush and be like, man,
those days.
yeah.
But
Well,
seriously,
actually, they'll be sitting at the piano with their wife singing, "Those were the days," and then put a cigar in their mouth.
But they
Shut up, you!
that was definitely a highlight. And he was reading off a teleprompter, dude. His speech, anyways, it is what it is. He's awful. I really don't even want to, because there's other things to talk about. Like, as I was driving over here, Matt Whitaker, the acting attorney general, he was being such a smug dick. And again, he's sitting there.
He's sitting there doing what?
Well, he basically Congress is, because he hasn't been appointed to he's the acting secretary.
Yeah.
And this is the pre-questioning him. And the whole, it was great. Everybody gets the 5 minutes and he tries to run out the clock on everybody. And people like to hit Lou. It's a yes or no question. Well, it's not really a yes. Yes, it is. Is there a line in the Constitution that says the president can't be brought up on charges?
That's where you bring in Harry Carey. It's a simple yes or no question, Matt. A baby could answer it. If you were on an island and you were a hot dog, would you eat yourself?
I guess so.
You made a wise choice, my friend.
I know I would. I put my best on myself. I'd be so delicious. But it was the same. It's all everybody wants.
Hey, I just wanted to do that.
I love Harry Carey. The
Cubs win. Cubs win.
Keep jumping in because I'm good with it. But everybody wants their 30-second clip of asking the same got you kind of question. And it's a little annoying, but they were hammering it. It's like, the House Committee on Ethics suggested you recuse yourself from the Russian investigation because of the last couple years of going on Fox News saying this is a witch hunt. Why won't you recuse yourself? Well, I looked at all the evidence and I reviewed it and I don't think it. And then the next person would ask the same question. It's like, look, the House Committee, said this. So it is what it is.
And there was one instance where he was being grilled and he got to I forget what the nature of the question was, but instead of answering the question, he goes, I think your time is up. Like Matt
Right.
Whitaker said, I think we were all agreed that we would all have 5-minute segments, and I think your time is up. So he didn't even answer the question.
Yeah, he's such a. But again, that he is there not for the House, not for the Republicans, not for this anything else, but he is an audition for one.
Was there a Carol Burnett maid behind him mopping up the flop sweat that must have been pouring from his head? Because he is a sweaty individual.
He's a sweaty guy.
He's a sweater.
He's what was Chris Farley's?
Matt Foley.
Matt Foley.
Right.
Very Matt Foley-ish.
I am thrice divorced.
So if you so my favorite part of the news this week is, first of all, the guy's name who runs the National Enquirer's name is Pecker. That's the kind of stuff I'm looking right at you, Joe. Have never come up with anything half as funny as the guy or myself or any comedian. The guy's name is Pecker. It's right up there with
Anthony Weiner.
I was going to say, who's the guy who was in office who couldn't stop sending dick pics out?
Sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, Pecker is still doing Trump's dirty job and blackmailing people and on his enemies list, and he allegedly has a picture of Jeff Bezos, which if I was Jeff Bezos I'd be like, yeah, I don't fucking care. I have all the money in the world. I don't think I'm not going to get laid.
He's already getting a divorce. Like, it's not like, oh no, he's ruining my marriage.
Right. I mean, Jeff Bezos, thank you, can lose half of his fortune. He is still the richest guy in the world. It's like Wayne Gretzky scoring records. He has double.
He's tied for second richest person in the world.
With who?
His ex-wife.
I see what you've done there. But that's the thing. It's like, is my management who orders 5 things on Amazon a week going to stop ordering from Amazon because he has a dick pic out there? No.
No.
Are we going to cancel our Amazon Prime membership because
you saw the open letter. I mean, obviously we know that's because of the open letter that he wrote on Medium, which I didn't realize was still around, medium.com. But Jeff Bezos said, "Yeah, I won't be extorted," and I didn't. It was a little too long, didn't read for me, but I got the gist of it. Yeah, there are dick pics out there, but I'm not going to be your dancing monkey.
And this harkens back to, we've talked about when Letterman was getting blackmailed. Mm-hmm. And he went to the FBI, and they had a whole sting. And I just remember Letterman talking about, like, the guy wanted $2 million, and he really wanted to bring one of those big, oversized clearance checks, to the guy.
Publishers Clearinghouse.
But that's the thing. And here it is, like, Pecker could be now in violation of his plea agreement. You can't, and what is it? Rowan Farrow's come out. It's like, yeah, he's blackmailed me, and this is how the guy's operated for 40 years. Like, this whole cartel is coming down.
You would think.
Or I would hope.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I wonder if this will show up in the Inquirer.
Do you know,
inquiring minds want to know.
When you think of all the snowflakes, the owning the libs and the snowflakes out there with hurt feelings, top of the list has to be the guy at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue who doesn't think it's right. You shouldn't be able to harass or say things about the president. Mm-hmm. Not really clear on how the whole Constitution works.
Well, to be clear, he doesn't think that you should have the right to criticize or harass a white president.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Right.
That must have been the subtext of his tweet.
Yes,
Okay.
because if you remember, he kind of harassed the last president who was not white about possibly not being un-American.
Yeah, when I saw his, because I haven't blocked. I only see it if other people post it, and you have to
The screenshots.
Yeah, but when I love when people like repost his tweets. It's like
there's always a tweet. There's like,
for everything.
You're right.
That's
the only time I have to because I have it blocked on my thing. But then you have to click the link to read what the Trump tweet that they're referencing is. Those I go in for. Like when there's always a tweet. I like trying to solve the puzzle because I don't know what's going on, right? And then I'll get on Twitter and then I'll see them commenting and saying, "Oh, there's always a tweet." And then I'll like, okay, what's the tweet say? All right, now why would he say you shouldn't harass a president? Oh, probably because yeah.
And this, I think,
And then the Candace Owens thing came out, and it was a tweet about how great Candace Owens is and what a great person she is, and she's great. She's one of the good ones, that sort of thing.
Wow. I'm waiting for him to say something like that because
he said, "Where's my blacks?"
Yeah.
I mean, what more do you want? Come on.
And who came running out on stage? But HUD Secretary, what's his face?
Did he come running out? Does he ever run?
Does it? No.
Ben Carson?
Ben Carson,
No.
And
We're getting off the track.
We are getting off the track. So, enough of this crap.
Thank God.
Let's get. So you're not prepared to do it.
I'm never prepared to do the podcast.
But this week I was trying to think, what should we do with this week's self-indulgent theater? I will always go with a Dan Cray Beyond Abe 5-head song as of last week's Asshole Neighbor. By the way, John Hunt liked it very much. It's one of my favorite songs, period. And somehow you made it even better. But this week I thought, for our co-host, Jim, and for our good friend Steve, why don't we dip back a little bit into popular culture? And when I think of the three of you, I think, just another Boston boy band that was right there on the edge in the 90s. So I asked Joe if he could pick any song from the New Kids on the Block catalog and do it in the voice of Christopher Walken. Actually, the Christopher Walken request came from Dan. Dan's like, yeah, I bet Joe does a great Christopher Walken.
All right, so while you were yapping, I went on YouTube and I pulled up a karaoke video of a New Kids song that maybe I can kind of read along to.
Okay.
And this is all kind of off the cuff here. I'm going to do, because people love it, I
right
guess.
Off the bean.
Right off the old bean. I'm going to do Please Don't Go Girl by New Kids on the Block as read or sung by Christopher Walken? We've been together for a long time, baby. Do you have to leave? Please, don't go, girl. I just can't live without you. So please don't go, girl. Oh, please don't go, girl. You would ruin my whole world. Tell me you'll stay and never ever go away. I love you.
I love you.
I guess I always will. Girl, you know you're my best friend. Girl, you are my love within. I just want you to know that I will always need more cowbell and love you. Oh, baby, tell me you'll stay. Never, ever go away. I need you. I need you. And something of that nature. I need you. I need you. I guess I always will. Girl, more champagne? You're my best friend. Girl, you're my love within. I just want you to know that this watch has been up my ass for 3 years and that I will always love you. Oh, baby, don't go, girl. Oh, no, I'm breaking into actual boy band. Please, don't go, girl. Oh, baby. Oh, there's more words? All right, to hell with it. All right, that's enough of that shit. That was a waste of time.
You cannot get enough of that. It's the faces and the dancing, but I did very, very, very much appreciate the throwing in Christopher Walken lines.
Had to, because there was no Christopher Walken impersonation.
Yeah.
I already did an episode called Worst Impression. This can't be part 2. I can't make this worst impression.
Your impressions are much better than mine. So, now that there's not a dry eye in the house, got to go, wipe these tears away.
And hear from our defunct sponsor of the week.
Aloha, kids. Dino Pebbles has 3 new marshmallows.
And what I wouldn't do to taste them. Aloha!
Chief.
My Princess Hula needs a partner for the surfing contest.
Certainly.
And I need a marshmallowy mouthful of these new suns, palm trees, surfboards, and of course, dinos. Marshmallowy Dino-licious.
Whoa! Dino? Barney, my Dino Pebbles!
Surf's up.
Post Dino Pebbles cereal, part of this nutritious breakfast.
So everybody listening to this owes Joe a thank you for not making you have to download a Super Bowl 53 sideshow, which I will go off for anywhere from 1 to 9 hours talking about a 3-hour game.
A 3-hour game.
The weather. So I will confine it here. I will also make a promise/pledge, unless it's completely news breaking, story that can't wait. I'm going to go a whole till March without mentioning the Patriots after we close out the 2016 season and Super Bowl 50. Well, the 2019. Sorry,
2018 season.
19 season.
No. Wait, oh wait.
18 season. Right. Super Bowl night. But
Oh,
Super
boy.
Bowl 53. I will say that the news broke today that Danny Amendola has hinted that he wants to come back.
I was going to say, is he pressing his face and hands up against the glass and the store window going, please, sir? May I have some more?
Gee, being on a 7-9 team, looking inside, on the outside looking in.
He's like Charlie Bucket and Willy Wonka. At the candy store.
So I will say, I know a lot of people thought it was a boring Super Bowl game, and I have to say you're right. Yeah. Unless you really, had, and I hate the term. What's a better term than had a dog in the fight? But because every play, because it was 3-0 for absolutely ever, because the Patriots missed a field goal, any play at any time could have completely changed that.
Both teams, for the most part, played like dog shit.
Right. One team played, and I mean this, I'm not just saying it, it's like one team played like more dog shit than the other. The Patriots had drives that stalled out, but they would get a first down or 2 or 3 before punting the ball. The Rams, 3 and out. But again, they have a couple great wide receivers. We know one of them, Cook, for instance, was one play away. I mean, that whole game was one play away. And even at the end, there was 2 touchdown passes thrown by the Rams. Both of them dropped by receivers. And one of them was kind of a drop with pressure, and the other one, Jason McCourty, made one hell of a play because, I've had no life. I've done nothing but rewatch the games and the highlights, and that back of the end zone where it looks on TV, it looks like Cook was wide open and Jason McCourty came out of. What I love is one of the many shows that I've watched this week. It's called Turning Point, and the Patriots got beat by the same play earlier in the game, but luckily Goff didn't see him open. So they ran the play again, but they had broken it down on the sideline. It's like, hey, when this goes out, he's going to be there. You're going to have to make this coverage. I mean, when the ball left Goff's hand, Jason McCourty was 18 yards away. Like you can see on the field. I mean, it's
awesome.
I mean, whatever they paid him that season, that one play alone was probably Super Bowl saving.
I hope it gets double next year.
Well,
see,
one of the things I loved about this week, and one of the things that management loved this week, is the identical twins and all the fun that they were having Super Bowl week and interviews we're having with them. And she really, grew to like them. And Devin McCourty, who's been with the Pats, his whole career, has been to 5 Super Bowls. His brother, on the other hand, Devin McCourty's been to 5 Super Bowls and 9 AFC title games in his career. His brother, who played 9 years in Cleveland and for Tennessee, had never even been in a playoff game, let alone a Super Bowl. And Devin had said he was one of the people earlier in the week. It's like, yeah, I mean, what else can you do? I mean, to win another Super Bowl, to be a 3-time Super Bowl winner, and to do it with my brother, it will not get better than that.
Yeah, that's it's a great ending to 2 very, very distinguished careers. I had like a funny thing happening in connection to the Super Bowl. So leading up to the Super Bowl, me, I love watching retro game stuff on YouTube, and I'm doing nothing but watching retro game stuff on YouTube leading up to the Super Bowl. So much so that one person actually put the Tecmo Bowl version of the current LA Rams and current New England Patriots rosters, because every year there's like a group of people online who they tweak the roster of the original Tecmo Super Bowl for the Nintendo with updated rosters, and they do this year after year after year. And they updated even like within seasons, so it's not like just for the last season. Like if somebody gets injured, if somebody starts to become a breakout player, they'll adapt to that. So they put the Rams and the Patriots against each other, and you can have the computer play the computer and just see what happens. Turns out this final score, 13-3.
Really?
Rams.
Oh, and it could have been. But it couldn't have been if you watched all the Patriot porn this week, all the mic'd up stuff that I can't get enough of. I will tell you when I believe the Rams lost the game before kickoff, and I mean that. Sean McVay, the new whiz kid, and it's come out. It's not a hidden secret. Goff, I guess, is not a smart guy. Doesn't read coverages, but is a good athlete and a good quarterback. What they've done all year is the coach can talk to the quarterback in the headset till 15 seconds left in the play clock. So they get up to the line before 15 seconds and run a play before the defense can change. The Patriots went into every play with 2 looks. And when he went to the line, would change their look. I mean, it confused the fuck out of him, and he couldn't make these decisions on the run. But when I say he lost the game before the game, if you see him going up and talking to Bill Belichick, his coaches shake hands, just gushing. Like, absolutely gushing. Like, hey, watching film on you guys, it was really tough this week. And Belichick says, yeah, we had a hard time breaking you guys down. You run a lot of different offenses, some great looks. And he goes, well, you guys are like chameleons and you change every week. And it was like breaking down 60, like going off. And it's like,
I thought it was a little gauche to ask Belichick to sign his Patriots hat.
Right then and there. Now, this in the grand scheme of things means nothing. I understand that, and I think most people understand this. There's a roof on the new stadium, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, that opens and shuts like a camera lens. You saw how?
Yeah, like an iris.
Right. And the NFL had it shut like the day of the game, but then opened it a couple hours beforehand. And Belichick is talking to the ref. It's like, I thought they were shutting this. And the ref said, well, they want it open for the flyover, and then they want to close it at kickoff. And Belichick's like, what do you mean at kickoff? Don't we want to close it before kickoff? And basically the ref's like, yeah, the NFL wants the optical of seeing the roof closing as the ball's in the air. Like NFL Films has a camera in the 50-yard line looking straight up, so as the ball goes flying overhead in slow motion, you can see it. And then Belichick goes over and he tells, talk to one of the assistant coaches, says, okay, well, it's going to be open, so the wind's coming from here. If we get the ball, because during the coin toss, you can choose if you win it to take it or to defer.
Yeah.
But the team that loses the coin toss gets to pick what direction the ball's kicked in. And so Belichick wanted to make sure they were kicking with the wind behind him, and the Rams would be kicking.
I got to say, what a nerd.
Right.
What a fucking nerd.
Maybe that affects 1% of the game. Maybe.
It's the butterfly effect kind of thing.
Right. On the other side of the field, Sean McVay was talking to one of his coaches about the same thing. Oh, man, this roof is really cool. Like, the flyover is going to look great. And he's looking around at the spectacle of the Super Bowl, just awed by the moment, like blown away by the spectacle of what the Super Bowl was.
Act like you've been there, even if you haven't.
And here's Bill, pissed off, not at the ref, but just pissed off. It's like, well, they said they were going to close it. And then it's like, okay, well, I can't do anything about it. So he goes and, how is this going to affect our game plan? Let's enough of the bullshit. Now that we know what we're dealing with, let's deal with it.
Does the iris close counterclockwise or clockwise? I need to know.
Right. I mean, and that's the kind of so back to the mic'd up stuff. Brady was not one of the people mic'd up, but Edelman was, and I forget who else was on the offense. So, but you hear everything in the huddle. And the first drive, they're marching down the field. Brady makes a bad read, throws a bad pick. The next possession, he comes right out, and he's like, hey, that one's on me. I'm not going to make any more mistakes. That's it. Done fucking up. Like, instantly, throws it on himself. And then he didn't. One of the keys that I think, and I had said this on the podcast before him, I thought one of the keys to the game, Brady cannot go into the game trying to win an MVP. He can't, he had great numbers. He didn't have great. He had some good numbers, but he's only thrown 2 touchdown passes with all the points scored against Kansas City and all the points scored against the Chargers. He threw it from the 20 to the 5-yard line, and then they ran it in. They relied on their running game, and I really believed going in, if Brady didn't try to force things to Gronk, try to force things to Edelman, try to force things to Hogan in that case, if he didn't worry about trying to get that MVP nod and just let somebody else. And the funny thing is, Matthew Slater was, who I love, who we talked about as being one of the unsung heroes, who I think was 1 to 600 for the Super Bowl MVP, because he had downed 2 balls inside the 5 on the punting game, because he threw a huge hit on a punt return. Going into the fourth quarter, when they started talking about it, Romo and Nance were like, are we seriously looking right now at Matthew Slater as being a serious contender for the MVP? And at that point, yeah, he really was.
Mm-hmm. But then Edelman, yeah, really kind of. I mean, then the Patriots won, and you know.
Well, and that's the thing with Edelman. Again, it's like we'll talk about Jules in a second and the bigger scope. But in that game, I want to say he had 140 yards of catches, of which 70 yards were in the air. If everything else, I mean, his yards after catches was off the chart. And he had 10 catches. Of the 10 catches, 8 of them were for first down. And it's true. It's like, how is he not coverable? How can you not cover this guy? Like, you know what I mean? He's not Jerry Rice. He's not, Randy Moss. He's not this physically Megatron. What was the guy's name in Detroit? Who was this 6'7", or that's what Gronk would do. Gronk's success so much of his career, his catch radius. Go to the back of the end zone. I'm going to throw it over everybody's head. It's going to look like it's going to go 4 rows, and Gronk, you're going to jump up and snag this thing. Jules doesn't have that.
Right.
Well, what about your thoughts of the Super Bowl? Did you enjoy your viewing?
I like.
She's not listening.
Yeah, no, I liked watching the Super Bowl with your parents. It was great. And then, your sister and her husband, and then your cousin, and your younger son,
youngest one.
Yeah, young. Yeah, he was. I liked. What was the bribe that if he stayed into the game through the whole game, he got to take the day, and the Patriots won.
Patriots won. He get to take the day off because that's what good parents do.
Yeah, and he was not disappointed.
Who was disappointed is his brother, because my cousin who brought the cupcakes, I sent one home with management, and the deal always is, it's like I always say, I never have the first beer or the first whatever until the Patriots score a touchdown. And the last 2 games, opening drive,
right.
So this poor little bastard, had to wait 3.5. I mean, honestly, it
was a slog. Yeah, right.
And I'll ask you seriously, because we know the answer with me. I mean, I was cringeworthy the whole time. I mean, did you ever feel like the Rams were going to pull this off? Or did you have the feeling?
No, honestly, it was so close, and both teams were playing so wishy-washy that I think, and the Rams got there because of some fucked up call.
Correct.
So no, I didn't think that the Patriots had it in the bag, and neither did you, even with 4 seconds left to go in the game.
So let's talk about the ending for a sec. It was, they had a missed field goal, and that's a whole.
The Rams.
The Patriots. Here's the thing about Brady's greatness. Yeah, he threw 260 some yards, no touchdown, 1 interception. Those aren't stats that blow you away. One of the interesting things, and I said this, one of the big difference between Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, Tom Brady has thrown a bunch of interceptions in playoff games and in Super Bowl games. He tends to throw them in the first quarter, often on the first drive. And it's like, this is so fucking unreal that the 3 points that the Patriots scored in Brady's 9th Super Bowl is the most points they've ever scored in a Tom Brady Super Bowl in the first quarter. They do not score points, period. The end. In the first quarter. It doesn't matter if you put up 35 against the Chargers, or what was it? There's 42, I think it won. Or 38, I think it was the final score against the Chargers. And 30 some points against the Chiefs. He comes out and 3 points, and that's it. But he doesn't throw them late. The Patriots in their 9 Super Bowls have outscored the opponents. Like in this stat, it's like I had to look it up when I saw it. I was like, that can't be right. 49 or the last 49 to nothing in their last 3 Super Bowls that they won. 49 to nothing. It's pretty mesmerizing.
Yeah, the Patriots are, dare I say, pretty great.
Now, as a Patriot fan and more than just a casual person, let me ask you a couple questions that I don't know the answers to, but I don't know the answer to one. Does this make up for the Malcolm Butler being benched last year, which we will never know if that would have won the game, but
No, and that doesn't make up for it because it just you look at that and go, damn it, we could have had 7 Super Bowls.
Or do you look at it and say, because a lot of the players talk during the week and the mic'd up stuff were also saying the same thing. It's like, we know what it feels like to lose this game. We're not losing this game. A lot of the people who were on that field last year were like, life is a lot different in the offseason when you win this game and when you lose this game. But look, Malcolm Butler played 3 plays last year in the Super Bowl, all on special teams. This year, and they lost. This year he played none and they won. So maybe he played too much last year. Here's the other question. It's the other thought. It's hard now to argue that holding on to Brady and getting rid of Garoppolo was a bad idea because last year's Super Bowl, Brady, had you kept him for the whole year, you would have made it to that Super Bowl anyways. But there's no guarantee that if Jimmy G played 10 years, he'd get you back to a Super Bowl and win one. Brady's already done that. And it's hard to now say. Garoppolo will play another 8-9 years. Maybe he'll do something with the 49ers or whatever. But I think that takes that. Not I don't know if sting or the argument, but the Crafts can say, well, we're justified now. It's like, I know Bill had the succession plan, but here you go.
Yeah. I don't know.
And looking ahead to the season?
No, I'm not looking ahead. No.
Off-season? Thoughts on the off-season?
Well, Edelman shaved his beard on Ellen DeGeneres' show today.
Well, he said he was, he had something planned. They asked him on the sideline and stuff, was this a playoff beard when it's coming off? And he said, yeah, but it was a charity thing. I didn't,
Yeah, it was like the Boys and Girls Club of Boston.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, I think, Edelman matched Ellen's $10,000 charity contribution. So I guess it's for the show. So $20,000 goes to the big brother. Was it the Boys and Girls Clubs of Boston? So
doesn't seem like a lot of money.
It does not. It really doesn't.
Because I remember CC Top, this is 20 years ago, got offered $1 million each to shave their beard.
Right.
I thought, but hey,
I don't think Julian Edelman's up there in the stratosphere of ZZ Top.
So so 2 quick things. 1 quick thing. And, now they're talking, okay, what we did for Tom 2 years ago is load up and spin to the salary cap. This year, we didn't do it this year. 2 years ago, they went out and got the weapons. They got Cook. They got the running back from Buffalo. Edelman was there. Gronk was there. The whole kit and caboodle. And people were talking about 19-0 2 years ago. This year, completely emptied the cabinet. Like Tom Brady started with no Jules, no Edelman, no Gronk, no Cooks, no Deion Lewis. But now the talk is, again, we already mentioned Danny Amendola talked about coming back, but there's some huge name free agent wide receivers. Do they give Tom one more crack at this? And it's hard looking, this isn't fanboy bootlicking here. Vegas has them second behind, just behind Kansas City to win the Super Bowl next year. And granted, we're 12 months away.
But you're talking about a strategy that I don't think Bill Belichick has ever followed.
No, he did. That was the weird thing 2 years ago, and that's what pissed off Belichick. Is they decided they were going to do what they never do, mortgage away the future. They traded away their first round pick to get a wide receiver. They, on the first day of free agency 2 years ago, they got Buffalo's running back, who was one of the top 2-3 free agent running backs in all of football. They got the number 1 corner free agent. Both happened to be from Buffalo. Buffalo was a piece of shit, but they had a great running back and a great cornerback. Day 1 of free agency, the Patriots never go and make a big splash. Not only did they sign both of those guys, they traded away their first-round draft pick. 2 years ago, they pushed all in, and that was the thing. The Crafts, Brady, Belichick, okay, here's the succession plan. Tom's got this one more year, then Jimmy takes over, but we want Tom to go out a winner. We don't want Tom to go out a winner. We want Tom to right the wrong from 2007. Let's go for 19-0, win the Super Bowl, and then Tom rides off into the sunset. That's why it was so weird that Belichick mortgaged the future, which he never does. He always has $10 million in reserves halfway through the season in case you need to pick somebody up. You wouldn't give away a first round draft pick for, it is what it is. But it's interesting that there's already that talk. The last thing before getting off Patriot talk, and I've gone round and round with some people this week. Julian Edelman, Hall of Famer?
I'm probably not knowledgeable enough to answer this, but I'm going to say yes.
And there's people who are saying no, because, again, we joke about it every game. What's the knock on Tom Brady as far as his quarterback arm and the dinking and dunking? It's like,
yeah, that's right.
Because he doesn't throw a 60-yard bomb all the time. I mean, he's had a bunch of them this season. The one to Hogan against Pittsburgh, or what was that? Yeah, they lost to Pittsburgh for the first play of the game, 60-yard bomb to Hogan.
Uh-huh.
I mean, the pass to Gronk to set up the game-winning touchdown, a 30-yard strike in triple coverage that window.
Right.
But it's a 5-10 yard. It's a stupid dinking and dunking the whole way down the field.
You're just buying into the anti-Brady hype.
Well,
you listen to too much sports talk.
No, but what I'm saying, that's what they're saying about Jules. It's because he's not a track star who's catching these circus catches. It's like, sure, he caught 8 first down catches. Yeah. Sure, he had the most yards in the game. Sure, he has the second most receiving yards the second most receiving yards. The second most catches by a wide receiver in all of Super Bowl history and playoff history. I mean, he's number 2 behind Jerry Rice in every category. Mm-hmm. My argument is a twofold thing. He's not fucking done. If Brady plays another 2 or 3 years and they go to 2 or 3 AFC title games and he just plays 1 or 2 more playoff games a year for the next 2 to 3 years, averaging 8 passes a game, he could possibly catch Jerry Rice and be number 1 in yards, be number 1 in reception, but he already has 3 rings. If he never wins, I mean, there are not many categories, whether it's a running back, quarterback, and you look when people talk about, okay, Eli Manning has won 8 playoff games. All of those were, the 2 Super Bowls. He went on 2 runs where he won 4 playoff games. He's never won another playoff game. In his career, he's a 500, winning percentage quarterback. He has less than a 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. He's missed the playoffs. He's played for like 12 years. He's missed the playoffs like 7 or 8 times, been one and done 3 times. 2 great Super Bowl runs. And people are like, well, he's a 2-time winning Super Bowl quarterback. Of course he's in the Hall of Fame. How, same thing when you look at numbers of like, even, I'm just not going to name all the people, but there are very few people who have won 3 Super Bowls, have played in 4, have been a Super Bowl MVP, and are number 2 in the most important categories that their position can have, whether it's a linebacker or tackles, whether it's a running back with yards or touchdowns. But that's my big argument. And the last argument that I've made, and what I love, and I just don't even listen to it anymore because you're just an idiot. You're just an idiot if you do anything but say he belongs, on the Mount Rushmore. It's like most people are starting to say, stop talking about Tom Brady in football terms. It's Muhammad Ali. It's seriously, it's Muhammad Ali. It's, whoever else from this sport, that sport. Who goes on the Mount Rushmore of sports athletes?
Yeah, right. Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan.
Right.
John Daly.
I know the easy one is to say Babe Ruth, but for me, it's really hard to put anybody before integration. Up there. It's really hard for me to say.
I mean, Hank Aaron. What the
right. Maybe somebody like Hammering Hank. So you go down the list, and it's like,
or Jackie Robinson. Whatever.
What I love is like it's like last year he lost the Super Bowl. He lost the Super Bowl. He threw 3 touchdown passes for 500 yards. But this year, the defense won. He didn't win it because he didn't throw a touchdown pass and only threw. So you're just, when you're trying to nitpick which is the worst of his 6 Super Bowl wins, you got to stop. And so what,
Brady likes that. He doesn't like to be, called the greatest of all time. He likes to be called trash.
He does. And so this
drives him.
So this is my biggest point that I've had in conversation with people this week. Okay, if Montana's better because he's 4-0 in the Super Bowl,
no interceptions.
no interceptions, then Eli Manning is better than Peyton Manning because Eli's 2-0 in the Super Bowl and Peyton's 2-2 in the Super Bowl. So if you're going to use Tom Brady not winning every Super Bowl against him, then you have to. And when you hear that, it's like, do you hear how dumb you sound saying that out loud?
Yeah, and people just don't want to admit that Tom Brady is a god among men.
And Gronk can't come back for that number. He can't come back for $12 million. He can't be a 50% blocking tight end, which he did amazing in the playoffs, and give you 2 or 3 great catches again. Not at $12 million, but there are signs that he's talking about it. The other big thing that makes me happy.
But didn't you want to trade him away last season?
Yes, and I was right because you saw how he played like the whole. He was hurt this whole season. What I think you do with Gronk, and the NHL finally put a stop to this. In the late 90s and early 2000s, you would have a lot of amazing hockey players on the wrong side of 35. Forsberg, Teemu Selanne, other people who would retire, who would honestly retire and go back to Finland, Sweden, Canada. They're out of hockey and come back in February and kick ass the last third of the season in the playoffs. Like they would get picked up as a free agent. They would either come back to their team, or if their contract was up, instead of extending the contract or being traded or whatever, they would retire and come back. And a number of players did this. And it's like, in hockey, there's 82 games. Do you want to grind it out, on a random Tuesday early in the season against a team that's going to finish with 10 wins in the season? No, it takes a toll on your body. I think because, again, you saw Gronk, early in the season was great. Then it was awful. He was hurt for most of the season. Comes back, was, great towards the end, or was good. Like the last 2 games of the season, had a week off, was amazing against the Chargers, good against Kansas City, had a week off. I'd make a deal with Gronk. It's like, look, we can't pay you $12 million against salary cap. We can pay you $6. And guess what? No OTAs. You pull your groin the first day of the season and you sit out the first 2 games. Play a game or 2, sit out a game. And I mean that. It's like, honestly, I don't think anybody. The Jets might have a good year. They've kind of have a lot of young talent. I think might be a playoff team, but I don't think they challenge you for the AFC. I mean, honestly, this is the arrogance of us, but the rightful arrogance. You're playing for January, not September, not October. I would rest him. And if you got a 2-3 game lead, dress him for the game, but just have him block. Don't have him go out for. We don't need.
He doesn't need to crush it every single game, right? He doesn't have to run up numbers.
Put bubble wrap on him, break when needed, for 6. But yeah, so I.
So you want to run the Patriots, is what you
could not be happier, and you see my mom at every game. This doesn't affect your life if they lose. Don't let these things. It does, because I just all week just wake up happier. Or not bummed that I woke up. You know what I mean?
I don't know what that's like at all.
But yeah, complete euphoria. So
great.
Unless something big happens, I won't mention anything about the Pats for 1 calendar month on this podcast. Joe, you're not getting off the hook. So now, let's talk a little bit more. So another thing, does Jules go on the Mount Rushmore of great Jewish sports legends with Sandy Koufax and?
Sure. Well, okay.
That's what my friend William said. And hey,
okay, great.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So now we move on to everybody's favorite part of the week.
That's the end of the show. So we're going to go out on.
No. And it's not the random video game review of the week. 2 things. You got a request to talk about that I sent you from All Star Tommy.
Yeah, I started reading on that. It was, I don't know, kind of boring. The topic about how video game flops are happening.
What are the big flops of the year?
What?
2018. What were the big flops?
From what I understand, like Grand Theft Auto Online isn't doing well. There was a sequel to a game called Destiny. A lot of multiplayer online games. There were a lot of them that were kind of busts. I think the Red Dead Redemption Online was a little buggy, and there was a lot of microtransactions involved in that. So I don't know. I read the article. It's all about, they're looking at like the big AAA game producers, like Electronic Arts fell short of, speculation, Wall Street speculation. So
is it one of those things where Suicide Squad was a flop? It made $1 billion.
Kind of, yes, right. Because every year, because Wall Street looks at video games now as like a Hollywood, as like movies, but it's like it's publicly traded stuff. So yeah, you want to, you're always going to try to want to speculate higher than the year before as far as sales goes, and eventually you will plateau when you start to saturate the market with samey kind of games, and that's going to happen now. Not to mention, like 2018 was probably a great year for Nintendo. I think the Switch was like the fastest selling, console of its time.
There's two in this house right now being used.
Exactly right, and it's so it's all about perspective. I think that from that article, I think that was a Bloomberg article too. So that was, I believe it was more financially slanted. I mean, obviously, if you're going to call a game, if you're going to focus on flop games, you're going to look at the finances.
But that's the thing. It's like, again, Suicide Squad's a great thing. I don't know if it cracked $1 billion, but it was close to $1 billion. It cost like $175 million to make. It's like, but it didn't meet expectations that the industry set. Remember last year when the ratings were down at the NFL? But it's still 19 of the top 20 watched shows in 2017 were football games. It's like, okay, so
ratings were down across the board.
Right. So it's like
it's all relative. Yeah. So but then there were like massive hit games. Like Red Dead Redemption 2 was a hit. Grand Theft Auto 5. Well, that wasn't a couple of years ago, but God of War was a big hit. Spider-Man, made a ton of money. So there were plenty of high end games that were smash hits. That's not saying that every AAA game that's going to be produced by, like Electronic Arts, they produce, EA does like the Star Wars Battlefield and those types of games. And those are always met with trepidation and usually are flops when you think of the number of dollars put into producing those games versus the satisfaction and the repeat business of video gamers that are going to want to buy more and more of Electronic Arts product. Like you're always going to have the Maddens. Like even Madden was down from last year. It just EA that's a whole other animal. Like EA is like they're like the granddaddy big AAA developer, like or publisher rather. But they spread themselves all over the world, all over the board. They have Star Wars games, they have Madden, they have you name it, and FIFA. They do the FIFA soccer game, so they have their fingers in everything. And eventually, and I think their model is that they want to focus more on those microtransactions, almost like kind of like the free to play model, where Fortnite, for example, free to play, humongously popular, but they make their money in transactions and selling, these little costumes.
V-Bucks,
yeah,
dances, and fucking shoot me.
But then you also have to consider the audiences that you're targeting. Like EA has the usually they target the college age, young adult demographic. Like they're not going after the 12. Right. They're not going, well, no. They're not going after the 12. They're not going after the 12-year-olds. They're going after the dude bros. They're going after, the kids, the high school kids and the college kids that are just want to play Madden, that just want to, that are into gaming, but they're not into buying all the bullshit, so they're not going to be forking. They're a little bit more, what's the word? Discretionary with their income. Like they're not going to just pour money into, getting a special outfit on a character.
I think that was the knock on Battlefield. Is it didn't market to the Fortnite younger kid crowd. It like that was your oldest one's like knock on it. Unless you were going to buy all these weapon upgrades that you couldn't unlock in the game that you had to buy, it wasn't worth playing.
It's the pay to win model basically. So the whatever. So that was I guess my take on the article is that it's kind of BSy, but video games are doing just fine.
All right, now let's get to the semi
Random video game. What is this?
kaboom.
Oh my God! Jacques pulls out a very handsome-looking Atari game called Kangaroo for the Atari 2600. It's a later game from 1983. It's got that nice silvery label, that nice shiny silver label. I forget. I don't think I've ever played Kangaroo. My guess is that you play a kangaroo, and according to the box art, you have lipstick and a bow tie and boxing gloves. So I think and the kangaroo in question is punching out a monkey that has got another kangaroo in a bamboo cage with a lock on it. So my guess is that you're trying to rescue your baby Roo from the bad monkeys, and you have to knock them out along the way. I'm going to say it's a fun game. I'm guessing. Never played it. Maybe I will tonight.
Is this what it is?
Kangaroo is a platform game. Yes.
Yeah, because I was getting rid of some stuff, and that was somehow an management treasure trove, and I've never known stumble upon one of those. So I'm like,
Oh, wow.
Oh, I know where this is going.
Oh, my God. It's going to
So-
go right on my shovel. Oh, thank you.
I cannot say whether it works or not, but
I'm sure it's
you don't
just
throw
fine.
out a piece of gold like that.
I'm sure it's just fine. Now, if I were to pay for such an item, if I really wanted to venture out into the World Wide Web and say, hey, I needs me some Kangaroo, and I want to be so legitimate in my playing of Kangaroo that I'm not even going to download a ROM and play it on an emulator. I'm going to fork over hard-earned cash and buy the actual physical cartridge to be shipped to me via some sort of courier service to then insert into my legitimate Atari 2600 and play on my old CRT television in my 52-degree basement. How much would I pay for such an experience? I would wager $3.
I actually see a copy right here.
For $3.99. Oh no, that's the Atari 5200 version.
Oh, so let me go back.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the 5200 version, which is probably truer in graphics to the arcade port because it was a generation after the 5600. Little fun fact about the Atari 5200: it's twice the 2600.
Is this maybe?
Yes,
Yeah, I'm going to need that back.
99 cents. Yeah, 99 cents. Okay, so I overpaid, but maybe with shipping $3.
Do you want to do now? Do you want to do a random video game review?
No, I think we've bored the
That's
audience long enough. I think that was great. Are there any video games that you're playing besides? Have you played any video games?
Resident Evil 2.
Yeah.
I did so you can play as one of two characters. Leon or Claire Redfield, sister of Chris Redfield, the big protagonist and the overall protagonist, I guess you would say, in the Resident Evil game universe. Dude, it's great. It really is. It's been a couple weeks now. I haven't got to play that much. The older little guy has played through as Claire. I'm playing through as Leon. It's not a co-player game type thing. It's a little different storyline. It's just really good. The graphics are good. What amazes me about playing these games, the music is just the music. You can't leave it on. You can't press the pause button and have something going on in the background.
It'll just be like,
yeah. The shadowing is real. There's so many times you jump because it's your own shadow. They do a really great, it's not just jump scares, people coming out. They catch you off guard with the jump scares because there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Honestly, and that's something, it's been an interesting thing talking to the oldest one about, who's now 11. Dude, this is why at the end of the game, the credit scrolls take 20 minutes. There's somebody whose entire job is to make sure that the angles of the shadows are right,
Yeah.
Whether it's a long shadow or a short shadow, whether it would be, and it's been kind of fun. Management likes to solve puzzles, and this is one of those games you can't really do a speed run through. So I finished it, and what's awful is she was there when I finished my first playthrough. And it's the first playthrough, and I was methodical. It's figuring things out. And it tells you, like, your game stats, that it took you, like, 16 and a half hours to beat the game. And it's like, where did you have 16 hours to play this? 3 in the morning?
Right.
But you're getting up at 6. Shut it. Don't judge me. Oh, you're getting up all night, too. To take care of my mother, yes. And you're sitting there playing Resident Evil. So I didn't... I didn't think I'd like it as much as some of the other games, but I do. It's hard. It's now like, who's your favorite child? Like Resident Evil 5 is great for some things. 7 was amazing, but 4 is great. But this might be my favorite, or this might be my second favorite. 7 was pretty, awesome. But I do love what's interesting is you meet two characters and so when I started playing, I played at 5, and then I got into 6, and there's two characters in 6 who have an interesting relationship that obviously goes back years. Well, this is where they first met, and I've also played 4. Yep. They also were the two people, and 4 you could play as one or the other. Playing through 4.
So you've played almost every Resident Evil game in some incarnation.
2, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Right, so you need to do the original director's cut, and then again the tank. I think Resident Evil 0.
And I downloaded it.
Is a reboot.
And it was awful.
Oh, you didn't
for
like
me because it was that tank control, and also when you went from one room to another, the whole it was
slow.
It was like a Commodore 64 thing where you would have to, the screen would go black, and then you would come in.
There's a loading screen.
It's like just no.
Right. You thank God for the power of the PS4 and 3D environments, because I can't imagine you sitting down and enjoying playing the original.
But I did. I tried playing when Resident Evil. I think it was called Resident Evil 0 is when they relaunched it.
Yeah.
So we'll see what the other ones. But yeah, I mean, the only review I'm going to have for the next month is just Resident Evil 2. Like it very, very much.
Play some Spider-Man. Sneak in some Spider-Man.
After I nail this game, I definitely will.
Yeah.
You playing anything this week?
Was I playing anything this week? No, I think I was focused on trying to avoid the flu, because my wife came home with the flu. She's better.
At least she came home.
Yes, right. I think, I think that's why she came home, so to give me the flu. No, I didn't get. I've been feeling. I felt run down, but when she was diagnosed, she suggested her doctor suggested that I call my doctor and get the Tamiflu. And just like, as soon as I start feeling anything, start taking the Tamiflu. And
I told you, get a man pun, suck it up.
Right. And I don't take that advice at all. But you know what? Best $90 I've ever spent.
It's funny. It sounded like you said $90.
You're right. $180 because we both got Tamiflu.
I don't even know what that is.
Tamiflu? Oh, it's like it's like NyQuil, but with fuck you flu. It's one of those things. It's like a super drug to take to relieve you of the symptoms of the flu.
Or just knock you out for 3 days and let whatever is going through you work its way out.
I could, yeah. But I didn't want to do that. So, right. I took, so we're out $180, but it's not like we would have spent that on anything fun or worthwhile.
New game?
So, no, I've been watching a little Netflix, though.
What have you been watching, my friend?
A couple of things. One, Ray Romano has a new Netflix special, which was really funny.
Management thought it was okay. Thought it was a little safe.
It's Ray Romano, and it was his first thing. So, and I was a fan of Everybody Loves Raymond.
But she said it was like, the typical old. My wife asked me, which dress I think I should wear. It's like, whoa, it's like
you would have liked it.
Okay.
Trust me. I did pick up on the sort of like, this is sort of like a 90s-ish era approach to, dad comedy, but it's perfect because we're 90s-ish people that appreciate dad comedy. So I don't know. I laughed out loud a couple of times, but that's just me. But that's funny because you didn't see any of it? He goes to the Comedy Cellar where his career first started, and then he does a half-hour set, and then the camera follows him literally out of the Comedy Cellar, down the street, around the block, down like another, half a block into another Comedy Cellar, and he does another set in the second Comedy
Completely
Cellar.
different?
Yeah. So he does like a whole hour, but broken up into 2 halves.
I like that. That's fun.
Yeah, and then at the end you see his real family, which I spoiled it for you, but fuck it.
What's the point of watching now?
Exactly. And then the other thing I'm watching, I know you don't like high anxiety or true crime or anything like that. Abducted in Plain Sight. It's about a girl who in the 70s she was part of a Mormon family. They lived in Idaho, and they made friends with another Mormon family. The Mormonism doesn't really come into play, but that's just how they met in the church. And the dad from the other family took a shining to her when she was 9, and spent a couple of years grooming the family and the girl to eventually decide one day, hey, I'm going to take little Jan here on a horseback ride, out to the stable and, go on a horseback ride. And, okay, have fun. Didn't come back for some time. And then, but that's not the end. It gets deeper, darker, more twisted. This guy, this predator guy, he was insatiable, but it's not a violent documentary. It's weird, and the level of manipulation on the perp's part, coupled with the naivete and stupidity of the family of the victim, it's just like a perfect storm of like, how could this guy who is a pedophile and a pervert not take advantage of this family situation? Like, it was just like perfect. It was like a perfect breeding ground. It was like, and you get like that kind of, and it's all shot with recreations of the, it's all dramatizations and recreations of like the 70s households and stuff, but it's all done through a filtered lens with like the, like when you look at an old 70s photo and
right,
it's
crinkle, like
the
right.
crinkled black border around, like it looks like they film it through that
like
lens.
it's home movies.
Yes, yeah, right. Like from like a Super 8 camera.
Home movies was a good show. I'd rather watch that.
But this is
I don't think everything happened to Brandon Smalls that bad. So tell me, they find her at the end, and it all worked out.
Actually, she's in the documentary. So the whole
is she alive?
Oh yeah,
okay.
She's very much alive. But it's not like she was abducted and molested and that's the end. It just gets weirder and creepier. I mean, there's light at the end of the tunnel. But
is it a train?
It was just I don't know. My jaw dropped. I was like, I can't believe the parents are that fucking stupid. I can't believe what a fucking creep this guy is. I can't believe this girl believes what this guy is telling her. Like on and it's like you just can't believe this fucking happened, but it did.
But we moved off politics. We're not talking about Trump. So,
okay. So what are you watching that isn't about abducting?
I watched a lot of Super Bowl breakdown shows, and
right,
I did that. But I did watch, and I didn't get through the whole thing because I didn't love it, and I really wanted to. The Bill Murray documentary.
I saw the poster for it, and I'm like, this looks kind of half-assed.
So right,
I judged it on its cover, and maybe I'm right.
I'm gonna watch the second half of it, but Bill Murray's not in it. It's just all these people with their Bill Murray stories, which we've talked about. And that's the funny thing. It's like for years, people have been telling these stories. And the director went back and he talked to all the people, not all the people, but many people who've allegedly had these Bill Murray moments. And I say alleged, but there's photos of it. Like, there was a photographer who was trying to take, a wedding photos, like the bride and groom, like the day before that, they were posing all this thing, and Bill Murray was there, and then ends up posing for hours.
Did they have the guy who he was sitting in a restaurant, and Bill Murray comes up to him, up to their table, and he grabs some fries off the plate, and he starts eating the fries off the guy's plate, and the guy's looking up at Bill Murray, and Bill Murray leans down and goes right into his ear, and he goes, "No one will ever believe you."
And I guess that's a running thing. Like, he'll walk up to somebody in the men's room, pissing in a urinal and cover their eyes. Guess who? And when he turns around, no one will ever believe you. And then just walks out of the bathroom. So so I don't know if they actually, I can't spoil it because I don't know if they actually tracked down
Right.
Bill Murray at the end. But it was fun, a little bit. But I'm like, yeah, it's Super Bowl week. I got some old games to
Maybe
watch.
when Bill Murray finally shuffles off this mortal coil, we'll appreciate the doc better.
No time soon, we hope.
No.
You got a parenting tip or a little piece of advice regarding Valentine's Day?
I hate you. My parenting tip is don't ask me for parenting advice or Valentine or any advice. Just don't listen to me. I don't. Why are you listening to me? Turn this off.
Because it's better than listening to my advice. Your no advice is so much better than my really bad advice.
Dad, your half-assed underparenting was a whole lot scarier than your half-assed overparenting. But I'm using my whole ass.
And with that said, we're getting close to the time to have to talk with the oldest one to avoid VD on VD, Valentine's Day and venereal diseases,
Gotcha.
because it's one of my favorite things on Thursday. I'll be tweeting most of the people who are having the misfortune of listening to this podcast of like happy VD, because I think it's funny.
You're a dick.
Yeah, and yeah, just little.
You're a pecker.
Guilty as charged. Bill. I am done. I'm done with the podcast for this week. I'm very happy. I'm euphoric. I still basking in the glow. 6 championships.
Congratulations, Jacques.
6.
You put in a lot of hours.
6. You know what was fun? It's that at the send-off rally and at the podium, both the Crafts and Brady's both went out of their way to say this was a home game. Thank you for being here. And truly, the parade and stuff like that.
And the weather. Jesus Christ. There was like 1.5 million people that turned out for that.
Could you? I mean,
Couldn't ask for a better day.
so many people were like, are you going to the parade? It's like I hate crowds,
Right.
Because crowds have what's that thing?
People?
Thank you. And the only parade I've gone to is in 2011 when we went, with my little guys.
Yeah.
Like the little one, I think was, he was like just over a year, and because he was born in May 2010, so that parade was June 2011. It was a Saturday. Mm-hmm. It was in June. It was a pretty safe bet it was going to be an okay day. And this could have been rain. No, but I am. I'm just. I'm still just giddy, and I still can't believe that,
I think if Gronk plays one more year, wins one more Super Bowl, he will go blind from a beer can. Get thrown at him.
No one told him he had to drink them all.
Right.
But God bless him. So that's it for me. Any last thoughts?
No, I think we're done. One more thing, Jacques. Don't forget